Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that earlier. Should be coming through any second now. How is everybody doing today? Ooh. 2, 4. Oh, numbers jumping. Hey, how's everybody doing? Howdy, howdy. Yeah, now we're talking. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to cut it off earlier because of the fact that, well, things happen, right? Situations happen, and you got to take care of it. Part of life. You got the biggest fright for what? What do you think about Alan Moore's sentences on adults reading superhero comics and watching superhero? Oh my God, what happened in the live stream there? Watching superhero movies. I think Alan Moore is the equivalent at this point of Grandpa Simpson. Old man yells at cloud. I mean, his legacy is unquestionable. His legacy and his contribution to comics as a whole is completely unquestionable. He's who he is for a reason, but he's really just coming off as kind of a crotchety old man at this point. And the fact is that, look, man, if you're making fun of adults reading comics and watching movies, Watchmen isn't a kid's book, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So, you read Flash by Jeff Johns, Omnibus 1 and 2 yesterday. What'd you think? I love it. Flash by Jeff Johns is such a friggin' fun run. That's so great. I know a lot of people gave it hate, especially when he took over the reins for Barry Allen pre-New 52, but then it was still pretty good. That was a fun read still. You missed Watchmen talk. No, you didn't miss Watchmen talk. I haven't talked about the Watchmen. Mainly because of the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of the Watchmen books. I need to read Black Hammer and The Fix by Image. I really want to read The Fix. It's on my to-read list. And if it wasn't for the fact that Shang-Chi Volume 2 has now been solicited for this week by Diamond, finally, then I would have picked up The Fix this week. Let Alan Moore hate Alan Moore. I agree. Let Alan Moore hate Alan Moore. Alan Moore, man, he's... You want to talk about a story, man. It's kind of sad to see somebody who had so much prominence and somebody who had such an impact on the industry has come to just have the utmost vitriol and hatred of it simply because of the fact that he got a bad rap. He got a bad deal in the 80s, which, unfortunately that was the case. For those of you that don't know, Alan Moore had some problems with DC Comics over the rights of the Watchmen characters. Rumor was that Alan Moore wanted more money out of it. He wanted more rights to the Watchmen stuff, and then they had a falling out. So it's unfortunate. But, back then, Alan Moore did what was called work for hire. That still stands true today. Essentially, basically, what that means is that you create characters for Marvel and DC. You don't own the rights to those characters. You're not working for Image where you're publishing your own stuff. You're working for a big machine, a giant company. So all that stuff, that stays with the parent company. In this case, all the Watchmen stuff. Despite the fact that, Watchmen was based on Charleston characters, which, DC owns the rights to and all that other stuff. We're not going to get into that here. But Alan Moore, man, after that, he had a huge falling out. And it's kind of sad to see somebody that just, if you look, I've said this before, but if you look at his interviews back in the early 80s, before he did Watchmen, before he blew up and everything like that, he was one of those guys that you could tell he loved comics. He wanted to write comics. He really had a great, interesting, and fascination with comics. Just look at him then, and don't look at him now. Please don't. But there was something there that apparently I think over the years has just died out. There's a great interview that he has online that it was done right when he started writing Swamp Thing. Look up that interview, and it's a really good interview with him. Opinion on what Dan Slott did on Twitter a few days ago. What did Dan Slott do now on Twitter? Dan Slott does a lot of things on Twitter, and sometimes he does a lot of stupid stuff that gets him in trouble on Twitter, despite the fact that I think he's a pretty solid writer. He's actually a really nice guy from what I've heard, but it's kind of like, dude, you got to ignore the hate. You got to let that stuff go. I'm trying to get the trades for Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. Some of those Green Lantern core trades are expensive. Yes, they are. A lot of those Green Lantern core trades that you are trying to get, if you want to read Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, a lot of that stuff is massively out of print. And I always say, you can read Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run without the Green Lantern core trades that were written for the most part by, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't read them in a while. I think a lot of it was done by Peter Tomasi. You can get all that stuff, and you could read Green Lantern by Jeff Johns and be perfectly fine. You get through omnibuses, you're fine. However, I think you're missing a huge story if you don't include those Green Lantern core trades, because they do flesh out a lot of characters. They do add a lot to the overall universe. I think it's almost essential stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of it is massively out of print, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be an omnibus for that stuff anytime soon. Best way to read Y: The Last Man. Is there a big version that collects everything? There is the absolute editions, and I've answered this before, to read Y: The Last Man. However, I actually would recommend you avoid the absolute editions unless you absolutely must have them in that format, simply because of the fact that the absolute editions for Y: The Last Man are probably one of the most disappointing absolutes that I've ever read. They're bare bones. At least volume 1. I haven't seen volume 2 yet, and I didn't order it. But volume 1 was bare bones. You just basically got Y: The Last Man, the first 3 trades, in an oversized format. There were a few sketches and things like that. For the most part, it was the weakest absolute that I ever owned, and I was so disappointed in that. Which was why I was a little bit worried about the Absolute Preacher. But once I finally got that, oh my god. Oh, yeah. Dan Slott basically told the retailers and fans to order more issues of Clone Conspiracy. Hey, look, he's hyping up his own event. I get it. I get what he's doing, but he's writing it, so of course he's going to hype it up. Nobody's going to post on their Twitter, don't buy my book. Don't buy this. It's the worst thing I've ever written. So he's going to hype it up, He's going to ask more retailers, hey, go ahead, order more books because, this is going to be huge. This is going to be big. What was the last big Spider-Man event? Spider-Verse, right? And that was good. Spider-Verse was good, but I don't think it was like a giant hit. Slott complaint. Wow, come on, Slott. Jesus. Dan Slott is a guy that I actually have the utmost respect for. A few years ago, I got the chance to see him at a con, and this guy brought up like 50, 60 books that he wanted Slott to write. And Slott, like a professional, he could have easily said, no, I'm going to limit you to 3. He said, you know what? I'm going to sign all of these, but I want you to stand right here, and I'm going to sign them in between actually signing and talking to other people, so you're going to have to wait a long time. And that, to me, is the sign of a professional. Dan Slott will always have my respect for that in that area. But his personal life, I'm like, dude, you just have to kind of, you can't get into these little Twitter wars, and you can't get into these arguments, because he has gotten into Twitter wars, and you got to be careful with what you post online, especially when you're representing not only yourself, but, the Spider-Man comic as a whole. He's also a huge Doctor Who fan. So, what is my opinion on Rick Remender's Low? I personally love the art. I like the art. The story's okay. It's not as weak as Tokyo Ghost, but I like the art. The art is really good on it. Do I think Scott Snyder is one of the best Batman writers? And who do you think is the best of all time? Man, you can't really... Batman's one of those characters you can't really nail down a definitive writer. A lot of people will say Frank Miller. A lot of people will say Scott Snyder. There's been... Batman's had a run, man. The character's been around for 7 years. So there's runs on runs on runs on runs on runs. People have, written Batman stories for as long as we can remember. But my personal favorite writer for Batman, It's rough. That is really rough. Yeah, I would actually say Scott Snyder is probably in my top 3 easily. I really enjoyed some of the stuff that he did with the character and all that stuff. But yeah, he's in my top 3. It's hard. I wouldn't be able to give you a number 1. So Scott Snyder, Frank Miller. Who else would I throw into that mix? Yeah, they're up there. Greg Rucka was pretty good on Batman too. Huh. All right. Let's see what else. Hey, Mr. Johnny Kid. Dennis O'Neil. Yes, Dennis O'Neil had a very monumental and influential run on the character. Who do you guys think? You know, I didn't like Morrison's run too much. I liked his Batman. I take it back. I loved his Batman and Robin. When Dick Grayson takes over the character, it's some of the strongest stuff. But I wasn't crazy about Batman R.I.P. I wasn't crazy about all that stuff. It just wasn't anything that I was, anything I was in love with. I thought Batman R.I.P. was kind of a mess. But man, once he does finally get into Batman and Robin, where he's writing Damian Wayne and Dick Grayson under the cowl, oh my gosh, with Frank Quietly on art, get out. Ooh, some of the best Batman stuff that you can read. Oh, hands down. Yeah, it is without a doubt the best part about Morrison's Batman run. And in fact, Morrison was building the entire thing. His entire Batman run was building up to that moment where Damian and Dick would take over the cowls and they would be the new Batmans. He wanted to do that stuff from the beginning. And once he finally gets into it, you can kind of tell that's what he wanted to write, because that's when he has the most fun. And that's when the stories are the most fun. I would honestly tell people, look, you can go into Batman and Robin and you can read that stuff and you will be perfectly fine. You really don't need to read almost anything else of the Morrison run to enjoy it. Elia Golan, I want to compliment you on your channel. You're going to be pretty big if you keep it up, and you definitely should. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know I've had a lot of haters recently that would say differently, but I appreciate the love. Really, I do. Morrison is either really good or just weird. I would say so. I think Morrison is a mixed bag, because Morrison is one of those guys that I love some of his work, and other stuff I'm like, I could pass. And I think Morrison is really good when he takes characters that are just meant to be fun. When he takes characters that are not that I'm saying he can't do the super serious stuff, because clearly he can. He has done it for a long time. But my favorite Morrison stuff is when he's writing really fun characters just on their nature. And what I mean by that is that naturally Shazam is a fun character. Naturally Batman and Robin would be a fun story. And if you've never gotten a chance to, go pick up the one-shot issue of Multiversity, where he writes the character of Shazam, aka Captain Marvel, for those of you that are wondering out there, because it is probably the best Captain Marvel story that has been written in, oh God, in so long. He just understands it so much that I really wanted him to just write the Captain Marvel series by himself. Oh my God, so great. That one-shot issue. For those of you that read it, you know what I'm talking about. Doug Monet is good, yeah. Is Batman Earth 1 worth reading? Yes, absolutely. I would recommend you pick up Batman Earth 1. Batman Earth 1 is interesting because it's kind of prototype Batman. You see Batman at the beginning of the story, he misses a jump, which you really almost never see. Not Grant Morrison. Jeff Johns really plays with the concept of what would it be like if Batman grew up in a house where Alfred, who is a military veteran, was pro-gun. And very much so, he tells Batman throughout the entire story, look, you need to have a gun. You're an idiot for going out there and fighting these guys. And yeah. But it's a really good read. It's fun. Jeff Johns has interesting takes on iconic characters. He does something with Harvey Bullock that is really, really cool. And I recommend you do check it out. Do I think Booster Gold or Blue Beetle will get an omnibus format in the future? I doubt it. Those are very niche characters. As much as the comic viewing communities, such as myself and a lot of other people, they love them. For the most part, I think they're very niche. And you know, they're great, but they won't sell books like crazy. Patreon subscribers, by the way, Patreon subscribers and regular subscribers, you guys that are on here right now, I apologize for not having content up regularly this week. I'm sorry about that. It's just I'm dealing with the fallout of getting the announcement that we're having a kid, so we're getting ready for that. But everything following forward after this week, up until, of course, the child is born and things like that, should be regular stuff. It should be regularly updated. So it was a little bit shaky this week. It's been kind of crazy. Hey, Nick. So you guys should get all your videos in pretty soon. Starting today, I will have a Doctor Strange Omnibus unboxing. That'll be posted up today for everybody, not just Patreon. You guys will all get that today. So Patreon subscribers, I am working on your podcast. I should start working. I'll work on that today, and your Book of the Week video will be up on Tuesday, like normal. What is your favorite Superman story or run? Mine is All-Star Superman, and I can't see that ever changing. Agreed. All-Star Superman is fantastic. All-Star Superman is beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I don't think anything could ever top it. I think that in 12, All-Star Superman was like 8, 12 issues. In those issues, Grant Morrison is able to tell the perfect Superman story. Do I like trades or hardcovers more? By the defective breed, I like hardcovers. I want to start reading X-Men. Where should I start? I like to get the full story without reading filler issues. Man, if you want to start reading X-Men and you don't want filler issues, you have picked the wrong series to jump onto. X-Men is good, but you just got to accept the fact that you're going to be missing some stuff because X-Men ties in and out. It's all over the place. The perfect places for people to start reading X-Men, for me at least, I think there are a few good places. You can start with Grant Morrison's New X-Men, which is great. It's X-Men 2000. Basically, Marvel gave him the rights and said, look, we want you to write X-Men for the 2000s. Grant Morrison said, I can do that. And he got them out of their costumes. He got them wearing like leather jackets and things like that. It was really fun stuff. It was a really fun read, and personally one of my favorite X-Men runs. And you don't really need to know too much about the continuity previously to have fun and enjoy it. I recommend you check that out. Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon, also a great place. And if you've heard of Joss Whedon, that's probably because of the fact that he was the one that wrote the X-Men, Joss Whedon was the one that wrote partially and directed Age of Ultron and the Avengers movie. Ooh, Johnny Kid. Oh, you wouldn't believe I added the Doctor Strange Omnibus variant to my cart on in-stock trades, but when I went to check it out, it was out of stock. I'll just pick it up later. Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that, dude. Jeez. Phantom X is badass, man. I love me some Phantom X. Oh man, I love Phantom X. He was great. Wolverine and the X-Men is another good place to start. Thank you for pointing that out. Wolverine and the X-Men is really good. All you really need to know is that Professor X has died and Wolverine is now headmaster of the school. It's a great jumping on point, really fun read. And he plays with one of my personal favorite X-Men characters, Dupe, in this one-shot issue that is, so much fun, man. Have I had the chance to see the art on Trinity? No, I have not. Shoot that over in the chat, and I'll take a look at it. What happened to the top 5 superheroes vid? Oh, man. That is somewhere in limbo that I need to work on. There's so many things that I need to work on right now for this channel. It's crazy. Yeah, not J-Rock's not big into continuity because they're always changing stuff around and retconning, so I just look for a good story. My recommendation for somebody that is always stuck on continuity and wants to jump into X-Men or Batman or anything is you can't. This day and age, you really can't unless DC or Marvel decide, you know what, don't worry about continuity. We're starting from scratch all over again. All number ones, kind of what they did with the Ultimate Universe. Because if you do worry about continuity so much and you obsess over it so much, you're going to drive yourself crazy and you're never really going to enjoy what you read too much. So I would just recommend, look, read something that you want to read. Start off at where the writer starts off with. Start off at the beginning of a volume 1. And then if you don't understand a reference, go online. We have the internet today. It helps out a lot. I don't understand most of the X-Men saga, but that's not going to stop me from reading Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force, which is one of the best X-Men runs ever. Ooh, yeah, there's another one. Uncanny X-Force. Start there. Most definitely started Uncanny X-Force. It's probably one of the best X-Men stories that's been written in the past few years. Brilliant stuff. Really, really brilliant stuff. It deals with possibilities and basically what would happen if the kind of slight spoilers for the first issue of Uncanny X-Force, but essentially what happens is that Apocalypse has come back in the form of a child. Would it be okay if a group of X-Men assassinated a child because of the fact that the child may in the future come back to be Apocalypse and harm somebody, and not somebody, harm the entire universe? There's your introduction. Do I think Marvel needs a reboot? I think Marvel could benefit from it. What I think Marvel needs to do is that Marvel needs to get off their ass and stop doing events. God, I'm so tired of events. Can we stop? And I ranted on this for about a good minute or two last week, but no more events, Marvel. Take a year off, get your continuity straight, get great writers to tell the stories they want to tell, and stick with that. No more of these events. Please, man. Ugh. So tired of it. Black Poles, just a thanks. After your recommendation from last week, I picked up the 3 Green Arrows you recommended. Year 1, Smith, and the Deluxe Lemire. Should be here next week. Oh, man, that's awesome. I'm so happy you picked them up. If you want to start, I would say you should start Year 1, then do Smith, and then do the Deluxe Lemire. You could start with any one of those, and you'll be perfectly fine. They're all great Green Arrow stories that you can start from the very beginning, and you shouldn't miss anything. You want to get the Smith Absolute. I haven't looked at the Green Arrow Smith Absolute edition yet. Yeah, it's J-Rock's Garth Ennis. J-Rock's Garth Ennis Fury deals with the same thing about should we kill a child because of what he do or might not do. That's a trope that has been used in movies and comics. It's a trope that's been used years and years and years. It's nothing new. It's how they execute it, I think, that is interesting. Because you've got writers out there that they'll do it and they'll flounder on it, and you've got movies that they'll do it and they'll flounder on it. A movie that I think that did it really well a few years ago was Looper, where nobody knew what the second half of that movie was because they didn't advertise the second half of that movie. Everybody just had advertised, oh, it's a time travel story. That's pretty much all it is. And then halfway through the movie, you're like, oh, they're dealing with this kid that'll someday in the future end up destroying the future. Is it okay to kill the kid now? Really, really, really great stuff, man. I love those stories. For some reason, I really love that moral quandary. Should you take an action right now to stop something that might happen in the future? Is that wise? Or if you did take that action, would you just further progress the events that would happen anyway? If that makes sense. Chris Vine picked up the Absolute Preacher after your review. It is the most beautiful book I own. Same. Favorite Image book out right now by Nicholas Munoz. Right now, probably Deadly Class. I would probably have to give it to Deadly Class. I think Deadly Class is my favorite Image book at the moment. So great. And Image is putting out so many great things. But in the order, Walking Dead will be up there. It's probably Deadly Class. Damn, that's really good. Deadly Class, Walking Dead, and I would say maybe Sex Criminals whenever Sex Criminals gets out. Although I do think the second half of Sex Criminals really petered out. It hasn't been as great as it used to be, and I'm curious what the hell Matt Fraction's doing because he really had, as far as I know, he really hasn't been pumping out work consistently for like the past year, 2 years. What's Sex Criminals on right now? It's like on issue 16, 18 if I'm not mistaken. It's like, dude, I don't know what you're doing. I know you're busy and you've got a family, but put some stuff out there. Invincible or The Walking Dead? Walking Dead. Thoughts on Fear Agent? Any good? You are not going to hear a single complaint from me about Fear Agent. In fact, I would tell you right now, if you were in this room, what are you doing? I'm going to steal your credit card right now and you're ordering Fear Agent Library Volume 1. Absolutely, you need to have Fear Agent. If you are a self-respecting comic fan, I'm calling you guys out. If you do not have the Fear Agent library editions in your library, you are not a true comic book reader. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But if you don't have them right now, absolutely go out and buy them. They are some of the best space opera stuff that you'll read. And the library editions are brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant. They're some of the best. They're some of the best value that you can get from Dark Horse right now, which is why I love Dark Horse so much. Dark Horse, man, they deserve such a high pedestal for some of the stuff they put out. Some of those beautiful hardcovers and beautiful collections they put out, and they don't get enough credit that they deserve. Do you think Marvel Studios will ever get the movie rights back to Fantastic Four? I think it absolutely belongs there. I agree. I think it's only a matter of time. Now, they won't get the movie rights back to X-Men because X-Men movies, they're hit and miss, but they still sell. Fantastic Four, that's just ripe for the picking. And I'm almost 100% certain that they've met with Fox at some point to say, look, we'll take the Fantastic Four off your hands. You know, you're doing a terrible job with them. And the only reason that last movie was made was so they can keep the copyright of the, not the copyright, the license to make the movies. That's the only reason it was made. That movie was made like within a year. You know, just so they could keep the license of the characters and they don't have to give it back to Marvel. So Marvel right now cannot use the Silver Surfer, Galactus, the Fantastic Four, Annihilus. They can't use a lot of really cool characters, which is kind of a shame. But at the same time, it's a really good thing because it kind of forces Marvel to be creative with their characters and use lesser known characters. I mean, I honestly don't think if we had the X-Men, if Marvel had the X-Men, I don't think we'd get a Guardians of the Galaxy. I really don't think we would. So that kind of forces Marvel's hand to use more obscure characters, more characters that people aren't familiar with because of the fact that they don't have their big toys, the X-Men, to play with. Because mark my words, I am sure if Marvel had the rights to the X-Men, we would already probably be in 3 or 4 X-Men films deep, just with Marvel. Not Fox, Marvel. We'd probably have about 3 or 4 X-Men films, and they would be, you know, the X-Men would be all over that Marvel universe. They would be in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they would be on Luke Cage, they would be in Daredevil, they would sprinkle those guys everywhere that they could. Fear Agent Library was on sale on Amazon. Just ordered it. Enjoy, man. Fear Agent Library Edition was on sale on Amazon. Wow. Is it on sale on Amazon? How much is it? I have the first Hellboy Library volume, and it is beautiful. Yes, it is. Did I pre-order the War of Kings Omnibus? No, I don't pre-order my omnibuses. I'm just ordering them off of In-Stock Trades on Tuesday at 2:30 when they go on sale. For those of you that are wondering, it appears, finally, it appears that we will get our Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu Omnibus Volume 2 this week. We should be getting it this week because it was solicited on Diamond. Good jumping off point for Spider-Man. Oh, jumping off point. That's a good question. If you want to jump off of Spider-Man, you can jump off of Spider-Man after Peter Parker dies in Ultimate Spider-Man. That's a good jumping off point. You don't need to keep reading. You don't need to keep reading the Miles Morales story, even though I recommend you do, and that's partially my bias because I'm Puerto Rican and Miles Morales is half Puerto Rican. So yeah, I'm going to support a character like that because we don't have that many Latin characters in the Marvel universe. Who do we have? We've got Robbie Reyes and we've got Miles, and that's about it, if I'm not mistaken. There's a few other characters here and there. What do I think of Batman The Long Halloween? It's a good story. It's a really fun story. One of the few Jeff Loeb books that I actually enjoy. Not a big fan of Jeff Loeb. Not a crazy fan about him. Do I think Marvel will kill the X-Men or merge them with the Inhumans to create a new race? By Mr. Pink. Marvel will not kill the X-Men, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Marvel likes money, and the X-Men bring Marvel money. If they kill off the X-Men, you are effectively killing off about either a good quarter or half to of the Marvel books that are out there right now. So there's no way that the X-Men are going anywhere. The X-Men will stay. Now, the Fantastic Four were a property that Marvel said, nobody's reading Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four haven't been great since Jonathan Hickman's run. So, yeah, we're going to kick them off. You know, we'll get rid of them for a few years and see what happens. We've got Wolverine. Isn't he Hispanic? Short, drinks, and smokes. Sounds like it. Yeah, actually, you're right. That's probably the best. Yeah, he's probably, you know, maybe he's got a little Hispanic in him. You know, he's Canadian or not. You know, I think recently they said that he's not or something like that. But, hey, you never know. He might be Hispanic. There might be some Latin blood in there. Have I ever watched Firefly the TV show? No. What are my tattoos? Anchor. I don't even know if you can see it. There's a delay. Oh, hold on. Anchor with some family name, family birthdays. Hyrule Shield, which absolutely looks terrible right now at this angle. So, and yeah, I've got a few other ones. Human transmutation circle on my chest. Autism symbol on the back. Bullseye better appear in Daredevil Season 3. What do I think? I think it's a matter of time. Oh, yeah, Nick, you're right. Yeah, Kyle Rayner is half Mexican. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, and I don't know how I forgot about that. I just read Omega Men like a few weeks ago, and he speaks Spanish in it. Do I think DC will come out with a Snyder Capullo omnibus? I think so, but I'm actually looking forward more to them collecting Snyder and Capullo's entire run in absolute formats. Because if you think about it, you've got the Court of Owls. What's next? Death of the Family. Then, you know, we got a few issues here and there. And then you could do Endgame as a follow-up. And then you could do, or you could do Year One. Yeah, you could do, 0 Year. That could be an absolute. Oh, you've got, you could do Snyder's entire run in absolute editions and they'd sell like crazy. I don't know why they haven't done it because I love the Court of Owls absolute edition. It's beautiful. Have you read Grant Morrison's Animal Man? Did you like it? Yes, I have read Grant Morrison's Animal Man. Grant Morrison's Animal Man is so much fun, and it's a great jumping on point for those of you that have never read any Grant Morrison stuff. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Really fun and really trippy and really existential and really out there. For those of you that have never read it, it's so good. Yeah, if you're a Morrison fan, it's very Morrison. Our Sandman series high literature? Yes. Sandman series, the Sandman series is considered high literature by even college professor standards. A lot of college professors will teach the Sandman series, and in fact, you can get Sandman books in public high schools and in college libraries. That is how much they are considered to a high standard. Sandman is brilliant. In fact, Sandman actually won the the World Fantasy Award or something like that in 1993, 92 or something like that. And after it won, they changed the rules to exclude comics from winning the award because they think that comics are not considered high literature. It was the World Fantasy Award, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm not mistaken again, it was for the issue of Midsummer Night's Dream. And after that, no comics are allowed in it. Yeah, Deathstroke has been confirmed to be the villain in the Batman movie. Although there are rumors that in the Batman movie, they're going to set the whole thing inside of Arkham, which I am all for that. I think it'd be really cool. Yee. What do I think about the Justice League versus the Suicide Squad? It's an event, you know. I've never been a huge Suicide Squad fan. I like the concept. And John Ostrander's run is absolutely brilliant. What he did with those characters and what he did on that run is brilliant. But, you know, there hasn't been, you know, a Suicide Squad run where I'm like, yes, oh, that'd be great. I can't wait. Do I read Archie? If I do, what do you think about Mark Waid's Archie? It's really fun. It's a really well-done modern-day take on Archie. If you want a horror take on Archie, you should read Afterlife with Archie, which is great. Afterlife with Archie is so good. It's Archie set in the zombie apocalypse. It's so much fun. And it's not like a kids version or kids bop version about Archie. No, it's a zombie story involving Archie, and it's really good. What is my opinion on the Gotham TV series by Jimmy James? The Gotham TV series is a bit of a mixed bag for me. It's fun. It's okay. I've seen the first few episodes of season 1, but other than that, it didn't appeal to me. Especially at that time, I was reading Gotham Central. And read Gotham Central and then watch Gotham, it just ruins the entire thing for you. And I'm fully convinced on that TV show that that Bruce Wayne Jr., Bruce Wayne, is in cahoots with Alfred, and they killed the parents to inherit the money. That's what the whole thing is about. Yeah, he actually killed the parents, and he's getting all the money. Little sociopathic bastard. Who is your favorite superhero comic book character? Mine's a toss-up between Superman, Batman, Daredevil, and Dream of the Endless. Ooh, good choices. Daredevil. I've said this before. Daredevil is absolutely my favorite series of my favorite character. Do you know that the Nightfall? Yeah, Nightfall is getting an omnibus treatment. I think Nightfall is the strongest when it's first starting out. After that, it kind of peers out for me. Not that great, Favorite Pixar movie? Toy Story for me. Toy Story is good. I like Toy Story. Probably be Up. Up is great. Heartbreaking though. Ooh. Let's see what else. Am I excited for the 35th anniversary Akira edition? Absolutely, I am. Come on, I'm picking that up day 1 next year. Oh, man. Hands down. For those of you that don't know, Akira's getting a deluxe 35th anniversary edition with I think they're hardcover. I have to look at it again. I'm pretty sure they're hardcover editions, and some of the pages will be in color, and there's some other stuff in it. And you can look it up, but it looks like a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little collection. My nose is stuffy today. Sorry, guys. What would you recommend to read in October? Are we talking horror books? Because I can give you horror books like crazy. You've got Scott Snyder's Severed, which is great. Uzumaki, which I've been recommending a lot to people lately, and everybody comes back and messages me or comments and says, hey, I'm reading Uzumaki right now. Fuck you. It's disturbing. I've gotten people say that, thank you, but fuck you, because it's absolutely disturbing and it just scares the shit out of me sometimes when I'm looking at it. Again, kids, here's some nightmare fuel for you. Google image search Uzumaki. Google that. See what you get. You'll have a lot of fun. Why do you think DC still has Vendetti on Green and on Green Lantern? Did they lose a bet? I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of those people that they're in DC and they're, in the position that they're in, and they are, they've got higher up positions and things like that. When you look at guys like, what's his name? The one that writes Red Hood and the Outlaws, for some reason. Greg Land is another example. It's like those guys have just been friends with like Jim Lee and Dan DiDio, and they've been in the industry for so long that, they'll toss them a book every once in a while. Parasite is cool. Have I ever read Avatar: The Last Airbender or Legend of Korra and read the spin-off comics? Scott Lobdell. Scott Lobdell was the guy. Yeah, Scott Lobdell. Why does Scott Lobdell keep getting work? Why does he keep getting work? His stuff is terrible. It's horrible. He hasn't written anything good in a long time. I can't stand Scott Lobdell, and his writing is just ugh, it's garbage, man. Have I ever watched the? Let's see. Okay, back to the other question. Have you ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender or Legend of Korra and read the spin-off comics? I have watched Last Airbender, and I have seen Legend of Korra. Amazing stuff with beautiful artwork, beautiful choreography, and a beautiful world that they decided to build, and I have not read the extended comics. However, I do have a friend that is a diehard fan that has read all of it, and he says it's really good. Really, really good. Recommended Wonder Woman stories. There's Earth One by Grant Morrison. That's really good. George Perez's Wonder Woman run is really good. Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman run I've heard amazing things about, but I've heard it's a bit preachy and it deals with a lot of politics. So a lot of people there either take it and it's a hit or miss. There's Brian Azzarello's Wonder Woman run, which, you know, it's a mixed bag for a lot of people, and I know it's getting an absolute treatment later on in the year, but it's still really fun. And if you are a fan of God of War, the video game, that's basically what that is. It's pretty much God of War Wonder Woman. It's so much fun, and the art on it is absolutely stellar. It's beautiful. No, Red Hood in Space didn't change my life, and you know what? I would rather say that the entire Red Hood and the Outlaws run that Scott Lobdell wrote was absolutely horrific, and it was terrible, and it was disgusting what he did to the character of Starfire. It was, ugh, God, it was horrible. I couldn't believe they actually let him get away with that. Just terrible, man. What series contains my favorite art style or illustration? New Frontier. Darwin Cook, may he rest in peace, was my favorite artist of the modern day before he died. I absolutely love Darwin Cook's take on the Justice League. I love his style. I love everything that the man did. And unfortunately, when he passed, oh man, it killed me. It killed me. I met the guy a few times before at local cons. Really genuinely nice guy. He was really cool. He always took time to answer people's questions. And it freaking killed me when Darwin Cook died. I was so sad. What's in... Can I read BPRD before Hellboy? Absolutely. You can jump into BPRD and you won't have any problems. All you need to know is that Hellboy quit the BPRD because he didn't agree with certain things that they were doing. And you'll be perfectly fine. You can go from there. And in fact, in some ways, I would say BPRD has a stretch where it's stronger than some of the stuff that Mike Mignola was putting out in Hellboy. Really good stuff, man. Take it easy, Mr. Pink. I would say, but I think you'll be cutting yourself out if you at least don't give Hellboy a shot. Give it a shot. See if you like it. See if it's for you. Read the first trade and check it out. You know, but just know that Mike Mignola gets better, like any other artist who is honing their craft. That was Mike Mignola in the late 80s, early 90s, and half of that story was written by John Byrne. So if you're starting Hellboy, I would actually recommend pick up the first two trades, see if it's for you, you know, check it out. If it's not for you, then, you know, it's probably not for you. And then give BPRD a shot. Because BPRD is tonally, it's a little bit different, and story-wise and structure-wise, it's a lot different than how Hellboy is. Favorite Star Wars character? I gotta go with Luke Skywalker, though Han Solo and Chewie are close seconds. I'm a Han guy, dude. Absolutely. Han Solo is my favorite character. I'm looking forward to DC putting Cook's Batman in official hardcover, but it feels a little gross that we only get new collections when an author dies. I'm actually in complete agreement with you. I agree. I think it does feel a little bit gross that we only get hardcover collections and special editions. Thrawn, yes, Thrawn is really good. That we only get hardcover editions and special editions when a author dies, because let's face the fact, it's just the company is trying to mooch off of the fact that the creator died. It's sad, you know, it is, but I also kind of see it in another way as like, okay, he died, but this is also a good way for us to celebrate the legacy and the hard work that a man who put in so much time and effort and made these characters what they are. So I see it both ways. And in that sense, I don't disagree with it, but it's kind of sad that they have to do it that way. Is there any way to read Mark Waid's run on The Flash from the Ultra Nerd? Yes, Mark Waid's run on The Flash is getting a reprint later this year, if I'm not mistaken, around October. Oh my God, I sound like Medea. October. In October or November, and they're putting it in trade paperbacks. I think I have to look at the solicitation of it, but it's good stuff, man. I recommend it. What do you think of The Voice from Garth Ennis? I haven't read it yet. I want to. It's one of the few things from Garth Ennis that everybody tells me I have to read, and it's really good, but I haven't gotten a chance to read it. I don't even know what the initial concept is of the boys. All I've heard is that they're like this superhero killing task squad or something like that. I don't know. October, Nick. Have I ever seen Stranger Things? Yes. Yes, I have. Can't believe I had to think about that. Yeah, I've answered that a lot here. Yeah, I've seen it. I love Stranger Things. Have you ever read Sex Criminals? Yes, yes. I was talking about Sex Criminals earlier. Sex Criminals is an absolutely fun series. Really great stuff. All right, guys. Shameless plug time. I'm gonna plug something real quick. Patreon. Check out my Patreon. You get exclusive content there for as low as $1 a month. And if we hit our $100 mark, we're almost there. I will do a raffle for everybody in the Patreon group. All you got to do is donate $1, and you get into the raffle. And you either get a hardcover or a trade paperback from me, signed, and all that good stuff. And I promise it'll be something good. It'll help out. Every dime counts, especially now that I am having a kid soon. So please help a brother out, even as low as $1 a month. It's really appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Patreon.com/hardcover-reviews. Let's get back to it. Let's see. Have I watched the Preacher TV series? Yes, yes, I have watched the Preacher TV series. Great stuff. I haven't watched it all the way through. I got about halfway. Through it. Really fun stuff. Really, really fun stuff. It's good. I think the fundamental flaw of the Preacher TV show is that they set the whole thing on in the town, versus like the first 6 issues of Preacher are in the town, and that's it. Like, let's get out of here. The Preacher TV series sets the entire season in one small town, and really, do we really need the entire season of Preacher to be inside of a small town? It's just kind of boring, and then after a while, you're just like, yeah, let's move on. There are greater things in the Preacher TV series that we can explore from the comics. I think we're going to get that a lot more next year. I have heard that the ending of Preacher for season 1, even though I haven't seen it all the way through, is essentially them going off on their road trip. So I'm looking forward to that. So Leslie Jones from SNL is reading 100 Bullets, and she tweets about it from time to time. It's cool to see the celebrities get stoked on comics without them being cast in a comic role. I agree, man. And Leslie Jones, man, I was so sad to hear about how much shit and hate she was getting from quote unquote fans of Ghostbusters and things like that, and the fact that they were like hacking her Twitter and that they were attacking her and stuff like that. And that's fucking pathetic, honestly. I mean, just disgusting what they were doing to that poor woman, that they forced her off of Twitter and things and making fun of her and things. That's not cool, guys. I really hate that shit, honestly. I felt real bad for her when she was getting, she just wanted to do a Ghostbusters movie, and she was getting hate for it, and she was getting paid for it, and people just being idiots. I love the Flash in the TV shows, but I wish the show wasn't doing Flashpoint. Flashpoint was a huge deal in the TV show. They won't be able to do anything like it. I'm interested to see how they do Flashpoint on the Flash TV show. It'll be interesting because when you think about Flashpoint, it extends the entire DC universe. Flashpoint affected everything in the DC universe, and effectively it set up the New 52. How they're going to do that with Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl, it's kind of small scale, you know. And yes, I know they have Superman this season as well, but still, when you think about Flashpoint, you think, man, Flashpoint, it covers everything. Flashpoint is huge. Flashpoint is insanely big. You know, and just bring it down to those few characters, it's kind of a disservice to the story. But, you know. Seth Meyers is a huge comic fan too. He had Jeff Johns on to promote Rebirth. Yes, he did. Yeah, I saw that. That was really cool. I like Seth Meyers a lot. Off topic, how do you keep your collection from getting dusty? Ooh, a feather duster and like a spray. Basically just any spray. You know, feather duster and like any anti-dust spray, you just wipe it down. It's kind of hard. I'm not that obsessed about dust. Like if a grain of dust falls onto my stuff, I'm like, okay, whatever. But you know, every month or so, I kind of have to wipe things down and take care of that. My girlfriend is watching anime. I'm sure you guys probably just heard that right now. What are you watching? Fairy Tail. She's watching Fairy Tail. Have I heard of Strip Panel Naked? It's a small comic book YouTube channel. Yes, I have. Really great stuff. The guy works hard, man. For Nick, feather duster in a French maid outfit. Well, how did you know, man? I mean, come on. I have to look nice when I clean my books. By the way, my calendar is coming out pretty soon for you Patreon subscribers out there. Yes, I will be wearing French maid outfits. There's a firefighter outfit. It's exclusive to you guys. I'm sure you'll be looking forward to that. Did Seth Meyers and Bill Hader write a one-shot for Marvel? Did they really? Did they really? Wow. Seth Meyers also had Matt Fraction on to talk about sex criminals. Yeah, he did. He did when Matt Fraction was at the top of his career writing sex criminals, and then for some reason he's taken so long to put out issues between sex criminals, even though I know Chip Zdarsky is working his ass off on like 4 different projects. Can we pay more to stop the calendar from releasing? Yes, you can. You give me that's horrible. When will I get with Nerd Ventures? Wow, a lot of you guys really want to see me do a collaboration with Nerd Ventures. I don't know. I haven't reached out to him. Nothing personal. The guy seems like a really nice guy. I just haven't reached out to him. And right now, me, Riley, and Jess seem to have the live stream thing down. So I think that's where we're going to stay at for a while now. Because last week, that was probably the best live stream that we've done. And I think the dynamic was there and everything was just bouncing off from each other really well. But I think for right now, we're just going to keep it at 3. Now, it doesn't mean that we won't have other people later on that could add input and special guests and things like that. But yeah, for the most part, I think we're just going to keep it at 3 guys right now. It seemed to work well where we were there. We bounced off each other really well. For those of you that are wondering, yes, Jess is back. He's going to be back. He's going to be a permanent fixture for the Omnibus live. We talked to Jess after the live stream, and me and Riley agreed that it just worked out so well, and we bounced off each other so well that, yeah, we're going to keep him on the show. And he was great. He was absolutely awesome. We had a blast recording with the guy. And he offers a different perspective in comics because he's been reading comics for a lot longer than us. Seth Meyers and Bill Hader wrote Spider-Man: The Short Halloween #1 in 2009. I did not know that. Huh. Pack-a-Day. Well, we have Pack-a-Day one day. I would love to have Pack on. Pack's a cool dude, man. Yeah, he could be a special guest too. Yeah, I mean, he's and I've never really talked to Pack that much. We've commented on each other's videos and stuff like that, and he's seen my stuff every once in a while. And he's mentioned me a few times, but I would love to have Pack. Pack hasn't updated, though, in like, I think that's how you pronounce it, by the way. He hasn't done a video in probably like 2-3 months, so maybe I should probably reach out to him. Do you recommend the Attack on Titan manga? Yes, I absolutely do recommend the Attack on Titan manga. It's fun stuff, but if you've seen the anime, there's really no point in reading the manga other than the fact that you get a lot farther in the manga than you do in the TV show. But for the most part, the manga is a lot farther along, and you'd enjoy it. And the TV show, the anime, is essentially everything that's in the manga. Oh yeah, Pack's a cool guy. I really want to see him come back and do some more videos, man. I used to really enjoy his videos. He was a really awesome dude. What out-of-print book is not worth the money it's going for? Annihilation. There's no way in hell Annihilation is worth $400. It's just, you know, supply and demand. People will pay crazy prices for it. But I've seen Annihilation go for as far as like $600, $700 because they throw an Annihilation Conquest into it and they say get the entire Annihilation saga, and I'm like, you're overpaying for that shit. What is your favorite manga of all time? 20th Century Boys. Yeah, Henki. How's it going, buddy? 20th Century Boys is absolutely brilliant, man. Oh, so great. It's fantastic. Inferno Omni. How much is the Inferno Omnibus going for right now? It's probably going for a good amount at the moment. What comic book or manga character would you cosplay as if you could? Grant Morrison. I would cosplay as Grant Morrison. All I need to do is shave my head and wear a black turtleneck. And just for those of you that are wondering that are coming late to the stream, I am releasing an exclusive Patreon calendar. I'm going to be in a French maid outfit, you know, a few little things, bathing suit, Speedo, things like that. That's exclusive to Patreon subscribers. I know some of you have just showed up. It's going to be very classy, you know, bearskin rug, the whole 9 yards. Beautiful stuff, I promise. Oh, it's a thing, Nick. It's absolutely a thing, and it's happening. Oh, it's happening. I'm breaking out the camera. It's very tasteful. I'm a tasteful guy. Of course, come on. What do I think about the new It Clown's look? Ah, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the new It movie. Ooh, that's going to be so good. Ooh. I'm good, man. Are there any underrated Morrison works you recommend? Flex Mantallo. I think you should read Flex Mantallo. It's really good. Flex Mantallo is really good, and it was out of print for a really long time, and not many people have read it. So I recommend it to everybody that, yeah, just go ahead. Check that out. You wonder, what does my girlfriend think about my calendar that I'm putting out? Oh, she's taking the pictures. Yeah, she's the one that's taking pictures for it. So it's going to be a very tasteful thing done. Great pick. Love. What book should the next X-Men movie be based off? Can we get an Uncanny X-Force one? Man, I would love an Uncanny X-Force movie. Ooh, so good. Speaking of out of print, is Fear Agent Volume 2 Library Edition out of print? Because I searched for it and people are selling it for more than... Is it out of print? You can find out if it's out of print usually by going to a few different websites. Now, here's a little tip for you guys. If you're wondering if a book is out of print or if it's going out of print soon, go to in-stock trades. If it says out of stock, then go to cheap graphic novels. If it says out of stock or if the price is like ridiculously high, chances are it's out of print. Now, with certain publishers, you have a higher chance of getting a reprint. Dark Horse is one of those publishers that they love to keep things on the shelves because they sell stuff. They're not stupid. They know, hey, if we keep things on the shelves, jackasses like me will recommend it to wonderful people out there that'll go out and buy it, and it's readily available. If it's out of print, people can't buy it, so we're losing money. Hence the reason why Dark Horse keeps a lot of their stuff in print, and Dark Horse is one of the best publishers out there. So for those of you that are waiting on Fear Agent Volume 2, absolutely hold off on it. Just hold off, because Dark Horse is really good with publishing their stuff and getting reprints out there in a timely manner. Well, there you go. Somebody on the Twitter said, on the comment section said, Fear Agent Volume 2 is getting reprinted per Remender on Twitter. Yeah, they keep that stuff in print all the time. It sells so well. Why not? Same thing with the Hellboy Library Editions. The Hellboy Library Editions sell out and they reprint them almost immediately. I think Remender tweeted that they are reprinting. Yeah, they are. Hey, I'm happy, man. I'm happy that I was able to steer you in the right direction for getting the Fear Agent Ragava. I think I said that right. You wish Dark was like that for manga. Berserk is Berserk out of print? Is the Berserk stuff massively out of print right now? I haven't read Berserk yet. However, I've been dying to get into it, and I've been dying to watch the anime. I've heard great things. I've heard magnificent things. People saying that Berserk is one of the best things you should read, despite the fact that it's absolutely pretty fucked up. But I've been really wanting to read it. I didn't know that stuff was out of print, though, so that's a shame. That's a shame that they don't keep their manga stuff on check. Now, have they done Visbigs? Have they done like Visbig collections of Berserk where you get like 3 volumes inside of one? Thoughts on the creepy clown sighting across America? I don't know what you're talking about. Huh. Let's see. Where do you think the MCU should go after Infinity War? I would love to see the MCU get the rights back to Annihilus and for them to do Annihilation. Because Thanos is a big character. I'm really curious where they could go and what they have the rights to after after they're done with Thanos. Like what villain can they actually take on that could fill in the shoes of Thanos the Mad Titan? That's what I'm curious about. I mean, they've got certain characters that they could probably use. I'm not sure. Do they have the rights of the Beyonders? I'm not exactly sure, but would really like to see that. Do you think She-Hulk will make it to the MCU on Netflix or in the films? That would be really cool. Do I think it'll happen? I think we could get a She-Hulk in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't see why we couldn't. Yeah, we could probably get a She-Hulk in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You just slap some green paint on an extremely attractive but well-built woman, and you've got She-Hulk. I don't see why we couldn't do that. Any thoughts on the new Samurai Jack hardcover coming out, or is it already out? I think it's already out. If you are a fan of Samurai Jack, do yourself a favor. There is a collected edition from IDW of the run of about last year. Go pick it up. It's great if you're a fan of Samurai Jack. They capture the spirit of Samurai Jack so well in that comic book run. It's so well done, and in a lot of ways, it's a continuation of the TV series with Grandy Tartakovsky. I can never pronounce that guy's name. With the original creator of Samurai Jack's blessing, and he oversaw the project. There's a nice little hardcover edition that it either came out last week or is coming out, and it's really fun stuff, and it's a really great read that I recommend you guys check out. Everybody praises Blanket's graphic novel. I haven't read it yet. Should I? Can anyone tell me? Yes, you can. Blankets is a very touching and heartwarming story that, especially if you grew up in a fundamental Christian household like I did growing up, and you kind of fell off as you grew older, like I have, you will get a lot out of it. You will get you will get a lot out of that story. It hits you in the feels, especially if you grew up in that type of environment. So I recommend you do check it out. I think you will enjoy it. Just, like I said, if you grew up in a Christian household, it's not a Christian story. I swear to you, it's not like where they're going to beat you over the head with a Bible or anything like that. But it's a really good story of love, an examination of young love, and an examination of what happens to that love as the years pass by and as time passes by. And, who hasn't had like a summer fling? Who hasn't fallen in love with somebody over the summer and then that person moves or that person moves on? Things like that. It's a really good love story. It's really fun. Hardcover. What would you name the baby? I would name it Harold. After you, Harold. Of course. Come on. No, we don't know, we don't have any names yet. I was thinking Chalupa Batman, but she says no. Hardcover. Let's see. What did I miss? Where do I continue with Batman after Endgame? I'm only reading Batman and not all the other DC stuff. I heard something about Jim Gordon being Batman, etc. I'm so confused. After Endgame, you continue on to, I believe the next arc is called Super Heavy, where Jim Gordon takes over the mantle of Batman. And it's fun, but after Endgame, I would actually say you can probably stop reading Scott Snyder's Batman run and you'll be perfectly fine. You don't need to read the rest of it. I think after Endgame, it was fun. It was really cool, you know, but you don't really need to read the rest of it. It's okay. Like the whole Bloom stuff was okay, you know, you could take it or leave it, but I wasn't sold on it too much. I noticed you like Garth Ennis, so how come we never got a Hitman review? Oh man, this is gonna be blasphemous to a lot of you guys, and I know I'm gonna hear it, but I have never read Hitman. I have never read Garth Ennis's Hitman, and I've heard it's one of the best things, if not the best thing he's ever written. I've just never sat down with it and read it. I want to. I really want to sit down with it, read it, and just digest the entire thing, especially since Ennis is my boy. I love anything that Ennis puts out. Any thoughts on Joshua Dysart's Unknown Soldier? Is that the one? Hold on, let me do a quick Google search. Is that the one where he's in Africa? Because if that is, it is brilliant. Let me see. Let me make sure if that's the one. Yes, that is. Okay, homework time. All right, for those of you that are out there, and I'm going to put the link right now in the chat. You can get it dirt cheap. The first trade is like for $2. I'm sending the link right now. Homework time. Boom. I put the link in the chat. Read Joshua Dysart's Unknown Soldier. It was a little Vertigo book that was, it's only about 3 trades long. About 4 or 5 years that it was published. Brilliant. Brilliant, 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 brilliant stuff. I can't, oh man, absolutely incredible story. Brilliant. It examines the war in Africa right now. It examines child labor. It examines children being used for warfare. It is brutal. It is not, you know, for the faint of heart. And it examines all of these things in a amazing, amazing story. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if you've not read this thing for some reason went under everybody's radar when it was coming out. And it is incredible. It is some of the best stuff that I've read in a long time. It was so good, and it really pissed me off when the story ended. The only thing is that it's very short, and you could tell he wanted to go longer with the story. Unfortunately, it didn't sell well because nobody was buying it, but read it. And the story, the ending does feel like it's a really compact. It feels like it's a bit rushed because of the fact that, you know, he wanted to go longer with the story. He wanted to explore the war in Africa and the war between different tribes and the different dialects and all of these things. It's incredible. Basically, Unknown Soldier is Rambo in Africa. Only it deals with political intrigue and things like that and the relations between the United States and Africa in a brilliant way. Should I read past the Ultimates 2, or is that where I should stop reading? Stop reading there. Do yourself a favor. Just stop reading Ultimates 2. So what other Ultimate series are really good other than Spider-Man? I'm not entirely sure. I wish I could tell you, honestly. I haven't read too much Ultimate series other than Spider-Man. I read Ultimates. I read, let me think, Spider-Man. That's about it. I'm not a big Ultimate Universe kind of guy. I've heard the Fantastic Four by Mark Millar when it first started out in the Ultimate Universe was actually pretty good, but then it kind of peters out. Hey man, love your channel. Keep up the good work. Why, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I've heard the Ultimate Comics Ultimates is also really good. Yeah, I've heard that's not bad. Let's see. Have you read Klaus by Grant Morrison? If so, what did you think about it? I have not read Klaus. Goku or Gohan? Gohan. One can make an argument that Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z. Oh my God, what's wrong with my English today? The Dragon Ball Z is actually Gohan's story more than Goku's story. And in fact, originally, after the Cell games, when Goku dies, Gohan was originally supposed to continue on as the main character, but you know, fan outcry and all that stuff. So Toriyama decided that he's going to continue with Goku as the main character, and they're doing my boy Vegeta so wrong. Every time I think Vegeta's going to get a 1-up and he's finally going to, you know, become the main character and the main star of the show, they do him wrong. disappointing. Who's watching Super? By the way, Super is the Super? No, Super's out today. Yeah, I gotta watch that later after the stream. It really should have been Gohan. Gohan is the natural progression of the character, and then they gimped him, and then he's like this weak character now, and I'm just completely disappointed with what they've been doing with Gohan lately. Is Grant Morrison's JLA run good enough to read? I seem to get this question every week. Yes, it is. The art is extremely dated. You've got Mullet Superman, but it's a fun read. It is what it is. It's fun. It's fun, but the art is really what kills it for a lot of people because it's Mullet Superman. He's got the mullet going on, and it was '90s art where the guys are like big chested and the different proportions and everything. It's just, what do I think of the YouTuber Professor Thorgy? I have no clue who Professor Thorgy is. Dicks out for Mullet Superman. What do you think about Jason Aaron's Thor? Jason Aaron's Thor is great. So great. I'm going to be on for probably the next 10 minutes, guys. Just a heads up, so get your questions in. Because I have a lot of recording to do because I have to make up for some of the stuff I missed out this week, and I have to make up for some Patreon stuff as well. Jason Aaron's Thor run is great. The God Butcher arc is great. One of the best Thor runs that I've ever read. Probably up there with Walter Simonson, and Asad Ribic's art is absolutely fantastic. Now, if we're talking about the female Thor stuff, I've been enjoying that a lot as well. I'm really liking what they're doing with the female Thor stuff. And for those of you that haven't read the newest issue of Thor, what they've done with Mjolnir, I have always had trouble pronouncing that, is really, really interesting stuff. Who should be a guest as well? I don't know who that is. Professor Thorgy? I don't know who that is. I would love to have him. Okay. What omnibus am I looking forward to reading next week? The omnibus I'm looking forward to reading this week and the next coming week is the Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu Omnibus Volume 2. If you're a fan and you follow me on the Facebook group and on the Twitters and on the Omnibus Collector Facebook group, you know that I've been posting about getting this damn thing for like the past 3 or 4 weeks. And we seem to finally be getting it. I'm also looking forward to diving into the Stan Lee and Steve Ditko Doctor Strange omnibus that I will be doing an unboxing of that later today, and you're all going to get that video. That's not going to be just Patreon later today. So decide my Christmas omnibus shopping cart of Marvel in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Diego Cardona. Oh, that's easy, man. Okay. Master of Kung Fu Volume 1, Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2, and let me think, what else could we throw in there? Absolute Preacher Volume 1. Or if you want just an omnibus, let me think. Master of Kung Fu Omnibus Volume 2. There's your Christmas shopping cart. Gotcha. My favorite comic by Lemire, Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth is absolutely my favorite comic by Jeff Lemire. I haven't read Zenith, so you're going to have to wait on that review. My favorite comic by Lemire. There are only so many hours in the day, and I work a full-time job as a special needs teacher, and the fact that we're planning for a kid, I don't have as much time as I used to read as many books as I used to, so there's that. The review for this week, if you guys are wondering, is going to be the Daredevil by Mark Waid run. That should go up for Patreons tomorrow. For everybody else, it should go up Tuesday. The Daredevil Mark Waid run. Have you read Atomic Robo? I have not. I've been wanting to read Atomic Robo for the longest time. I've heard such great things, man. I've been dying to. What made me want to start a YouTube channel? Okay, story time. What made me want to start a YouTube channel? For those of you that have always wondered what the origin was. One morning I woke up and I had all these comics and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something with this. Then that afternoon I went out and was listening to a fairly popular podcast that I'm not going to name here. And I was absolutely tired of them I was tired of the fact that every time that they would start talking about comics, they would just drive off into these weird tangents about how this comic is sexist, this comic you know, it's pandering, or this comic is so misogynistic. And then it got to a point where it was on every episode of that podcast. So I dropped that podcast and I said, you know what? I think I could do something better than they could. So pretty much out of spite for that podcast, I started this channel, and now here I am too. Yeah, I know. Weird things happen out of spite, huh? Probably not the best way to start a YouTube channel, but you know, I've got 6,000 subscribers right now. Thank you guys so much for that. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything right now. Black Hammer is the best thing Lemire has done since Sweet Tooth, in my opinion, so be sure to read that. Everybody is pimping Black Hammer to me. I've been wanting to read it. Everybody's been saying, dude, you got to read Black Hammer. Black Hammer is so great. Why haven't you read Black Hammer? I'm like, I just don't have time. Matthew, let me know which podcast it is. I'm not going to answer yes or no, but I'm just curious if it's the same one. I really don't want to start anything, but I'm pretty sure we're probably on the same page. Comment there and let me know. What comics would you recommend for someone who never held a comic book before? Ooh, why haven't I read Black Hammer? I haven't read Black Hammer because I haven't. Money's tight. Money's tight, and I still haven't gotten Patreon from. A Patreon kicks in like 2 weeks. Then that's when I'm going to start catching up with a lot of things, and then I'm going to pick up these single issues of Black Hammer through Comixology. Matthew's tight. Money's tight, man, because you know, with the kid and everything coming along the way, which we just found out last week. We found out probably Wednesday. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a kid. What comics would you recommend for someone who has never read a comic book before? It's kind of hard to just throw things out there for somebody who's never read a comic book before, because I kind of need to know the person for a while for me to sit down with them and go, okay, thank you, Nick. Thanks for the congrats. What are you into? That's usually the first thing that I always start with when somebody is asking me, where should I start reading comics? I go, well, what are you into? Do you like Westerns? Do you like space? Do you like drama? Do you like comedy? Because there's so many genres out there. One thing that my go-to is always Y the Last Man. Y the Last Man is a really great go-to comic that a lot of people tend to like that have never read comics. Let's see. Matthew, I'm not going to say you're right or wrong, but let's just leave it at that. What's my opinion on man buns? That is an interesting question. My opinion on man buns. I mean, dress the way you want, dude. I think it's not for me, clearly, because I can't pull it off. I'm a rock star comic YouTuber. I think you should know that. So try not to ever close your channel. Thank you, man. Thanks for the kind words. Really, I appreciate that. Honestly, I really, really do. I really do. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate everything. And, you know, despite the fact that, you know, some people out there think that I don't appreciate my fans, I really do. I appreciate you guys a lot. You guys are the backbone of this community. I wouldn't be here without you. And it's growing. It's growing a lot every day. It's kind of overwhelming at certain points. Ooh, Nick, you need me in a man bun photo for the calendar. I think I can pull that off. I think I got something, you know. I got something for you, Nick. Don't worry. December will be dedicated to you, Nick. Promise. Your Rockstar read the Why the Last Man. It was awesome. Thank you for answering. Awesome, man. I'm happy you enjoyed Why the Last Man. It's a really great series with a very sad ending. I was thinking of picking up Doctor Strange because of the movie. Do I think it's worth it? I don't have the Omnibus yet. I'm waiting for my office in my apartment complex to open up so I can go pick it up and shoot the unboxing. And then you'll get more of an opinion on it, but you won't get a review of it for probably about another 2-3 weeks. What would you never recommend to a new reader? Most of the 90s comics, a lot of the Scott Lobdell, Rob Liefeld stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend that stuff, but you know, that stuff's sold for a reason. And if you're not as versed in the comics, I guess that stuff is good for those people, but if you've got a kind of a palette and if you've developed a taste for what you like and if you like things that are a little bit more mature and not as bombastic and all over the place, then I wouldn't recommend anything from the 90s for a lot of those people, except for like the rare stuff like Preacher and Grant Morrison's JLA. Ooh. Hi, would like to get into the Marvel Nova. Ooh, that's a good character. You can pick up the Marvel Now Nova trades with Sam Alexander. That's pretty good stuff. You know, a lot of it was written by Jeff Loeb, and it's actually a really good read. It's really fun stuff, man. If you want the Richard Rider Nova, a lot of that stuff is out of print. However, it's getting reprinted in the War of Kings Omnibus, Prelude to War of Kings Omnibus, and the After War of Kings Omnibus. A lot of that stuff is getting all collected in there. So that's a good pickup for a lot of you guys out there. Busick is always good. Busick is always very consistent. Astro City is brilliant stuff. So if you're trying to get somebody out there, I would recommend you can start with Busick's Astro City. Really, really fun stuff. It's a little bit different, and I know a lot of you guys out there, you might not love it, but he plays with a lot of interesting concepts that I think you guys will really enjoy. Dun, 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 dun. Have I read Marvel 1602? And if yes, what did you think of it? I have not. Surprisingly enough, I have not read Marvel's 1602. I want to. I really want to read it. I've heard great things. Did Neil Gaiman write in Marvel 1602? I can't remember if he did or if he didn't. What do I think people dislike Rob Liefeld? I think people dislike Rob Liefeld because and I've actually heard he's a really sweet and nice guy. But there's a few things. He's actually got a YouTube channel that's fairly popular right now. He's doing a lot of cool stuff on it. But I think there's a lot of dislike for Rob Liefeld because he's synonymous with that period of the 90s with the extreme era and the drawings and the pouches and, you know, the anatomy that's completely off. And his art is terrible. It really is terrible. But I think he gets a lot of crap, and some of it is some of it is, you know, worth the crap that's thrown at him, and some of it isn't, because, you know, he wasn't the only guy that was doing that style. There was a lot of guys in the 90s that were doing the same thing that he was doing, and that was just, you know, that was just the style from the 90s, and they were making millions of dollars and they were making money hand over fist. I can't blame the guy for doing it, you know? I can't blame the guy for basically doing what was the trend of the 90s because that's what sold, and he made a shit ton of money out of it. But I give him a lot of hate because I think he's a shitty artist. As a person, I don't know him as a person. I've heard he's an okay person. I know he got into a Twitter war with Scott Snyder a few years ago where Scott Snyder basically shut him up with a few tweets, and it was hilarious. Which DC animated movie should come out next? Man, that is a tough one. There's a lot of good stuff out there that I think should come out. Let me think. Which DC animated movie should come out next? That's really hard. I'd like to see Endgame or Death of the Family. I would like to see Batman Death of the Family come out as a DC animated movie. I think they could do some really cool stuff with that because there's a lot of iconic images in DC Endgame. Because you got to think, they've done a lot of their super, super big stuff. They've done, you know, The Dark Knight Returns. They've done Batman Year One. They've done a lot of their good stuff. Ooh, yeah, Kingdom Come would be good. Kingdom Come would be, oh yeah, that's a good choice. Kingdom Come would be an interesting choice. However, I'm not exactly sure how they'd be able to replicate Alex Ross's painting style inside of a Blu-ray. But Kingdom Come would be really good if they could pull that off. Yeah, Kingdom Come. That's a good choice. Yeah, that's my choice actually. I would love to see them do a Kingdom Come animated movie. I think that would be absolutely brilliant if they could somehow take if they could somehow take that really nice Alex Ross painted style and just translate it onto screen. Oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be so cool. I think that would sell well too. I want them to go full R-rated Batman animated films, unlike The Killing Joke. I could see it. I don't know. Have I ever been belittled or looked differently for liking comics? Yeah, when I was a kid. Yeah, when I was a kid, man. I mean, I've said this last week on the Sunday stream that comics then and comics now are absolutely completely different things. Comics are cool now. When I was growing up, when I was in high school, middle school, comics weren't cool. If you were reading comics, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you reading? What kind of a nerd are you?" And I've been belittled for that. I was also belittled for my weight. I was a big boy. I've told this before. I was 180 pounds back in like 7th and 8th grade. I was a real big boy, and I got picked on a lot for that stuff. But you know, you get older, and it either makes or breaks you, unfortunately. The only way to replicate Alex Ross art is to shoot live action. That's so true. That's really true. I think that'd be the only way to do it. If you could write a superhero comic, what would it be? I mean, I think it's no surprise that if I could take one superhero comic, I would absolutely 180 pounds of comic muscle. No, it was 180 pounds of pizza. If I could, it would be Daredevil. I would definitely write a comic book about Daredevil. I would love to be able to write just like a 5-issue mini on Daredevil, and I think it'd be great. In what order should I read the 3 War of Kings omnibus coming out because of Guardians of the Galaxy? 1 through 12 is in Road to War of Kings, and that comes out April 27th. Huh. Hold on real quick. Let me do a quick Google search so I can help you out, pal. Ooh, thank you, Jake Gordon. If you are watching in the chat right now, thank you for your $1 donation to Patreon. It is absolutely appreciated. Every dime counts, and I appreciate every single person that donates. Thank you so much, man. Sincerely, honestly. I appreciate the fact that you trust me with your hard-earned cash. Let me take a look real quick on the War of Kings omnibus so I could help you out, sir. And War of Kings omnibus comes out because of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 through 12. Hold on, pal. And if anybody else wants to help out in chat, where's that? No, you are mistaken, my good friend. War of Kings has Guardians of the Galaxy 13 through 19. If you want the start of the Guardians of the Galaxy, hold on. Oh, wow. Yeah, they did do it out of order. I just realized that. Why would they do that? The solicitations are out. I can't believe I didn't catch this before. He's right. Okay, for those of you out there, wow. Okay, so guys, okay. So if you are getting the War of Kings omnibus set, the War of Kings prelude, the thing that leads up to War of Kings, comes out in April of next year, and for some reason the War of Kings omnibus comes out in November of this. Why would they publish it out of order like that? That makes no sense. Huh. The entire thing is out of order. Wow. Well, that was dumb. Jess, you will be back on Wednesday, not Wednesday. Oh my goodness, on Friday, pal. You will be back on Friday, man. It's good to have you. I've already let them know that you will be not Friday, Thursday. Oh my gosh, I'm getting my days mixed up. You'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, I've let them know already that you will be a regular on the show. Yeah, they already know you're going to be a regular. So awesome to have you, man. Wow. Yeah, I'm more blown away by the fact right now, I can't believe they're publishing it out of order. Okay, guys, so check this out. So War of Kings Prelude, if you're going to read the War of Kings omnibuses, it goes War of Kings Prelude, Road to the War of Kings, that comes out April 18th, 2017. And then the War of Kings omnibus. So if you're reading this in order, you're going to want to read the War of Kings Prelude. That comes out in April. Then you're going to want to read the War of Kings Omnibus, which for some reason comes out in November. And then War of Kings, Realm of Kings Omnibus, which comes out in February. That makes no sense. Wow, they're publishing it out of order. Huh. That sucks. So that means you guys, you're going to have that omnibus sitting on your shelf if you want to read it in order for months before you can even crack into it. Not only that, you're going to have two of them. You're going to have two omnibuses sitting on your shelf waiting. Man, that is so dumb for them to publish it like that. Sorry, I just kind of went on a little tangent. That's so stupid. God, man, I wish I could take over that publishing department. You know what? Tweet out to Marvel. Jess, Riley, and Hardcover should be the ones that are in charge of the publishing department for hardcovers and omnibuses at Marvel and DC. I guarantee you'd have an absolute Swamp Thing solicited by next month. Is there a definitive writer for a character I like? Garth Ennis on Punisher. He's my definitive go-to guy. Absolutely. Do I think there will be an absolute Chew somewhere in the future? There is an absolute Chew. There is an absolute Chew. It's called the Chew Smorgasbord edition, but it's massively out of print. Volume 1 is out of print for a while. You can still find Volume 2 though. That is the closest thing we'll probably get to an absolute edition for Chew. You want Swamp Thing? I want something too. Yeah, it's called Smorgasbord. I want an absolute Swamp Thing too. Riley actually pitched it in the live stream probably about 2 weeks ago. What his idea was for an absolute edition of Swamp Thing that is brilliant. It looks beautiful. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for me today. Look out for the Doctor Strange unboxing video. That'll go out later today. Patreon subscribers, you should have your video for the Book of the Week, Pick of the Week segment on Monday night, tomorrow, Tuesday at the absolute latest. And that is, of course, going to be, well, I'm not going to ruin it for you. It's a surprise. Patreon subscribers, you're also getting your podcast later this week. I couldn't do it last week because of the fact that I had commitments because of the whole baby thing. And yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out this channel. You guys are absolutely awesome. You're the backbone of this channel. And if you want to help out, and you pitch at least at the minimum $1 a month to my Patreon, you get an exclusive video. And if we hit $100, you get entered in a raffle to win a hardcover or trade paperback of my choice, signed, and I will mail it to you free of charge and all that good stuff. So I'm going to send that link in the chat right now. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And share these videos, comment, subscribe. Love you. Have a great week, guys. And look for my other stuff.